The 22 and 23-year-old sisters are set to appear before a judge for a bond hearing Friday morning. Now, on a Sunday night, organizers tell me that the square here in downtown Bentonville was packed with more than 1,000 people for a candlelight vigil honoring Charlie Kirk. But on Monday is when things got really heated, when part of the monument that was set up here on the courthouse steps was destroyed.
The mom said, you're getting this crazy bitch out of my house. That's what you're going to do. I don't care. You break up with her, you date her, whatever you do, you do. But she ain't gonna be living here. Not around my Fabergé eggs, she won't. I didn't build up my Franklin mint collection so she can get mad at you one day and wreck my house. No, ma'am. What's up, everybody? Ty Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. In today's episode of Fuck Around and Find Out, we're gonna be talking about sisters Kerri and Kaylee Rollo that are quite possibly inbred because one of these buffoons found it fashionable to wreck a Charlie Kirk memorial.
Charlie Kirk. He lives as he dies, promoting violence. Record all you want.
Look at that. Whatever.
Yeah, and I Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk.
Which already is a stupid idea, and we'll get to that. And for those of you that may think, look at you clutching your pearls, Ty. Not clutching my pearls at all. I'm used to stupid people. I was born and raised in Arizona. No offense, fellow Arizonans, but you know how it is, and you cannot find a brand of stupid that we have not seen in this state. That's just keeping it 100% real. So I don't even care about that way, because while people may be offended about that, the real deal for me is the stupidity that comes from thinking that it's okay to be lawless because you don't like something. And that's where I draw the line, because for me, a lot of this is a lot more on the side of logic than it is emotion, because I don't care what emotions you have as far as if you didn't like Charlie Kirk and you think he deserved to die, that's your business. Once you express that publicly, though, and do things like property damage, that's where it becomes the rest of our business. Because while it's okay to have any thoughts you want and technically say almost anything you want outside of calls to action, you can say anything you want. That's your right. And I truly do believe in everybody's right to freedom of speech, 100%. Now, whether or not that comes with consequences, that's something you have to accept based on what you've said or done or who you've pissed off. And that's something I've had to deal with myself. And in the past, when I've had to deal with the consequences of my words, I have never gone on a freedom of speech rant. I've just always been like, yeah, if you didn't like it, you didn't like it. And if there's going to be consequences for me over it, then I guess there's consequences for me over it. And that's what bothers me about a lot of these people is they've set up a GoFundMe, and we're going to get into the story. First off, I want to say that Cassandra Whitney Cass, my friend on Facebook and X, I almost said Twitter. Sorry, didn't mean to dead name you. Which we're going to get in that too, because one of these girls is a they and a them. It's always the usual suspects. Like I said, there's no brand of stupid that I haven't seen at this point in my life. Because while I joke about Arizona and the level of stupidity here, I've also lived in LA. That's maybe even more stupid than what you find in Arizona, just a different brand. But anyway, so Cassandra Whitney Cass sent me this, and what it said is, breaking, Arkansas activist Kerri Rollo, the woman who vandalized a Charlie Kirk memorial outside the Bentonville courthouse, is facing the full weight of consequences. After losing her job, she has now been evicted from her home and is reportedly pleading online for financial help. But so far, sympathy and support appear absent. A sobering reminder, actions have consequences. Which I get what they're saying here, but technically they were wrong because they have put up a GoFundMe, which we'll talk about that in just a second. But let's get into the actual story so you have the facts, and then I'll interject my opinions where I think they're relevant. Before we go any further, I'm just going to ask that you like, comment, and subscribe. We've got a goal. We're on our way. Do your part. When you hit the subscribe button, make sure you click the bell, select all notifications so that you know every time I upload. Now, let's get on with it. We're going to be going with the Daily Mail today, and the headline from the Daily Mail reads, "Sisters who trashed Charlie Kirk Memorial now whining they're jobless as they beg for cash online." Two sisters accused of trashing a Charlie Kirk Memorial in Arkansas said they have been harassed and fired from their jobs as they asked for cash for their legal defense. Okay, well, have you really been harassed, or did you just get what you were asking for? Because if I heard you correctly, when I was watching the video of you wrecking that Charlie Kirk Memorial, you were saying you were fine with people recording it, and you seemed pretty full-throated and loud in what you were saying. So you can't be the person that's saying, go ahead, record me, I don't care. This is what I'm doing. I'm proud of myself. That's basically what you're saying. But then all of a sudden it turns into harassment once people start trying to find out who you are, and in some cases, like this one, successfully finding out who you are, successfully finding out where you work, and successfully ruining your life. That's what you asked for. That's what you got. You're a waitress. You should know how it works. You get what you order. This is what you ordered. Bing! Your plate's ready. Kerri, 23, and Kaylee Rollo, 22, were arrested last week in Bentonville near the border with Missouri and charged with vandalizing a makeshift Kirk shrine. I performed in Arkansas, and I performed in Missouri, the show me state. You showed your ass, and Missouri is going to show you consequences. Which I know it's Arkansas that they're technically having to deal with this in, but when you're straddling those two states, you should know that this is going to add up to trouble for you. So you should have had a plan to probably move when you decided you were going to do this, or you should have been like, I'm fine with whatever comes my way. It is what it is. I'm doing what I'm doing. I feel strongly about this. Video of the incident taken by a witness appears to show Kerri ripping signs and kicking candles placed on the memorial whilst saying Kirk lived as he died, promoting violence. Record all you want, Kerri, who uses they, them pronouns, added and put up 2 middle fingers to the camera. Police said CCTV also showed Kaylee taking part in the alleged vandalism outside the Benton County Courthouse. The sisters have now started a GoFundMe with a goal of $18,000, which they titled Fight Against Fascism, Help Pay for Our Legal Fees. And just really quick to update you guys on where the GoFundMe is, they have now raised the goal to $22,000, and they have raised $20,434. And what they put is, after the recent events, Charlie Kirk's death, my sibling and I are being doxxed online, and my sibling was fired from their job. This is a direct violation of their First Amendment rights and unconstitutional. This is unfortunate, but anything helps. Please help my sibling while they look for another job and stand against the tyranny that is creeping into the country. Update. My sibling and I were arrested for this protest. We have been threatened, doxxed, harassed, and fired. Please consider donating for legal counsel and court fees. Actually, this isn't unconstitutional. That I really take issue with. Also, when you say that your sister and you were, well, your sibling and you were arrested for your protest. No, you were arrested for vandalism. Because if you guys had just been holding a sign or marching to protest and you got arrested, that would be unconstitutional. But none of us have the right to damage property just because we don't agree with it, or just because we don't like what it says. That's not the way any of this works. And while you and your sister have raised a decent amount of money, $20,434 is nothing to sneeze at. But when it comes to the trouble you're both gonna have finding actual jobs, when it comes to what your legal fees are gonna be, which granted, these are misdemeanors, so there's a good chance that they're not gonna face a lot, probably a couple of $100 fine each. There's that. But that money, $20,000, is going to go faster than you think it's going to go. Like, actually, the fact that you have a goal of $20,000 or even had a goal of $18,000 at first tells me exactly how young you both are. Because you don't realize that you're two grown women There's no such thing as a they and a them. You're grown women. You're going to have to feed yourselves. You're going to have to clothe yourselves. And you're going to have to find shelter for how many months while you're waiting to get a job. And if you decide to move across the country, which would probably be your best bet, where you and your sister should probably go is a place that's very liberal. Maybe think San Francisco, maybe think Seattle, maybe think Portland. But my guess is, by the looks of both of you, you look kind of inbred, not trying to be mean, but if we're keeping it real, you look kind of inbred, and you're probably both dumb enough that no matter where you go, you're going to find yourself in more trouble. As a matter of fact, $20,000 is probably fine to keep both of you sheltered, clothed, and fed until you both get put in prison for something. Mark my words. These two idiots are going to live rough lives, and this has nothing to do with my personal opinions. Like I said, do what you want. Vandalize anything you want. You're going to get busted. You're not going to be anybody's problem anymore. That's why I don't encourage violence towards people, but I do encourage these people, like these two sisters, Kaylee and Kerri, to do everything they can to make sure that they get locked up, so that hopefully one day they do the right thing and then spend the rest of their lives in prison and they're not the rest of our problem. I'm so tired of these people. I really don't believe in rehabilitation anymore for a lot of these. I think most of them can end up in prison for the rest of their lives. We'll all be better off for it. We'll live a happy society. I know things will never be perfect, but what's the saying? Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. I'll go for the good. All right, let me get back. Okay, and also what I was going to say is when they say after the recent events, Charlie Kirk's death, when they're talking about their GoFundMe, it's like you make it sound almost like Charlie Kirk died and then we miraculously got arrested for no reason at all. That's not what happened. You didn't get arrested in connection with Charlie Kirk's death. You got arrested because you decided to bust up actual property at a memorial and you gave them an excuse to put you in jail. That's the way it works, dummy. Kerri worked at a restaurant called Bella's Table, which distanced itself from the employee after the arrest following complaints by locals. The restaurant said in a statement, "We understand your outrage over this incident. The individual who defaced the Charlie Kirk's memorial does not represent or define our company, nor the hardworking team that serves our community every day. This person's actions are not a reflection of our standards, values, or culture. Please note that we are addressing this matter internally with all the seriousness it deserves. We ask that the dedication and professionalism of our broader staff not be overshadowed by the poor choices of one individual. Our commitment remains to honor our values and provide a respectful and positive experience for all." And that's the bigger thing that I think a lot of these people don't pay attention to is, I bet if you were to talk to this girl, she would be like, "I really liked my job. I really wish they hadn't fired me." Well, this is what happens when you fail to realize that your actions not only have consequences for you, but in some cases, unfortunately, for everything you're connected with. And what they're doing right now that they really don't realize, and when I say they, I don't mean this girl, I mean the people that are doing this, is they're defunding their own movement. Because what a lot of these people don't realize is if you really want change to happen, there are ways that you could at least inspire or work towards change. But what that's going to take, just like everything else, is you being employed and being able to fund your movement in some way. Even if that's just making sure you have enough money to take care of yourself while you post activist type TikToks, or while you try to get involved in the political process and see how you can make an actual change. But what's happening right now, if you haven't noticed, especially with Antifa being put on a list now, or in the process of being put on a list, is what they're going to do, and when I say they, the government, is they're going to find ways to go ahead and lock all of you up. And what that's going to do is that's going to put a crease in your being able to find future employment, in your being able to be effective in any legal way, which the legal way is more than likely going to be the only effective way to ever make any kind of change. But being that you and your sister are 22 and 23, and a lot of the people messing up right now are very young and don't realize that this is going to hurt them for the rest of their lives in some cases. But you're crippling yourself right from the beginning, right out the gate in your early adulthood. You are crippling yourselves, and you will never be able to be effective in any kind of change because you have chosen to do this to yourself early in life. So I am glad when I was young, social media wasn't a thing. So if you wanted to be stupid, you were just going to be stupid and let your friends see it. Now you let the whole world see it. You're really handicapping yourselves. And if you're really a revolutionary, what you're doing is playing right into the government system and making yourself another number, another statistic, another prisoner is what you're doing. Maybe keep that in mind while you're feeling like a genius by busting up a memorial that really had no effect on any, like, what do you think that changed? That's what I don't understand with a lot of these people that are defacing memorials. Like, yeah, you let some anger out, but what did that change? What meaningfully did that do for your cause? Meanwhile, a woman named Lacey Christian claimed online that she kicked Kaylee out of her home following the arrest. Kaylee had been dating Christian's son, but the two broke up after the incident, according to Christian. I'm sure the son was smart enough to say, okay, you're crazy. I am not having you in my... Can you imagine if this is what she'll do to a Charlie Kirk memorial? What is she going to do when you break up with her? You think she's not going to bust up your stuff? You think she's not going to possibly take a golf club to your windshield? That's the kind of stuff that these people don't think about, is you are showing us that you have a pattern of violent behavior, or a tendency towards violent behavior, or a propensity towards violent behavior. I gave you a couple ways to word that. Pick the one you like best. But yeah, the mom said, you're getting this crazy bitch out of my house. That's what you're going to do. I don't care. You break up with her, you date her, whatever you do, you do. But she ain't going to be living here. Not with moi. Not around my Fabergé eggs, she won't. I didn't build up my Franklin mint collection so she can get mad at you one day and wreck my house. No, ma'am. You will not hurt my collectibles. Kaylee has lived in my home now for over a year, and I have never once cut her down or not allowed her to have the beliefs that she has. Well, you're better than me, miss. Because if you were living in my house, probably rent-free, I would be like, no, ma'am, you will not come throwing your shawl around in my home. You're going to watch yourself. I would have sat her down and made her watch the Charlie Kirk Memorial with me. This is your rent. Get a little bit of Jesus in you, you heathen bitch. However, I will not allow someone living in my house to be okay or celebrate a murder. And I will never allow someone to live in my house who is okay with destroying a memorial for someone else. And that's right. That's the other thing. I've mentioned it before, but honestly, if you have someone in your home that is encouraging murder, at some point you're going to look at that person and be like, could I be next? Could this person possibly be thinking that it's okay to do that if you don't like somebody or if you don't like somebody's views? And I would imagine that the way that this mother worded it, she probably has opposite views of this young girl, Kaylee, and her sister, and has been tolerating it. And she's probably just been like, okay, they're young. This is what they think. I'm going to mind my older person business, not make this my issue. And then it starts to hit her. Oh, this is what I have living with me. This is what I'm supporting? Pack it up, sister. Donors to the sisters' GoFundMe, who have already given over $14,000, this was obviously yesterday, appeared to be both leftists trying to support them and conservatives paying a small amount to leave comments slamming them. A donor going by the name Antifa Super Soldier wrote, "You did a good thing. Antifa Super Soldier. Be in jail before long." Another supporter by the name of Nicole W. wrote, "Love all the people donating just to say you deserve it. Take those losers all the way to the bank, girls. Keep fighting the good fight." And yeah, I gotta admit, you are getting $0 of my money to get my opinion. I'll make a video about it and talk about it here. But I would never donate to anybody's GoFundMe just to tell them something like, you guys are losers or you're idiots, which is what I saw some people doing. And that's fine, I guess, if it makes you feel better. But I would not contribute any of my dollars to somebody's GoFundMe just to own them. Because really, you're just owning yourself, because at the end of the day, you did give them money. And let's say that they get enough haters to add up to even $1,000. That's $1,000 I don't think they should have. I'm not trying to fund anybody that I do not like. So you can do it if it makes you feel better, but I'm going to tell you, I don't think it's smart. An anonymous donor on the other side wrote, "You got what you deserved." They added, "Freedom of speech is what you are fighting for, but destroy something based on someone else's." Okay, I don't know what you paid to say that, but I don't think it was worth it. Kerri's bond was set at $15,000 and the individual requested a public defender. Kaylee's bond was set at $7,500 and she reported that she retained her own attorney. Okay, well that is dumb right there, because it's a misdemeanor and you retained your own attorney. So you're going to end up probably getting the same punishment that your sister who went with the public defender is getting, except for you're going to pay a lot more for it, because when you pay for your own attorney, what they're going to do is they're going to lie to you at first, and they're going to be like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure we can fight this," and not tell you that since it's a misdemeanor, you're going to get the same punishment anyway. Misdemeanors are usually something standard. Like what your sister's probably going to get and you're probably going to get is they're going to plead you down to something that's even less than what you already have. You're going to get community service. You're going to have to pay a couple $100. But either way, that attorney is going to take up more of your money than you should be giving away. And I know you probably feel real grown up by making that decision. But I can tell you, as a person that got in lightweight trouble when I was younger, not anything stupid like this, but lightweight trouble when I was younger, you're hiring an attorney for no reason at all. You might as well just set that money on fire, whatever he's charging you. As far as the bonds went, usually you have to pay 10%, so $1,500 plus $750 would be what they pay on the $7,500 bond. So if you had a bail bondsman handle it for you, then $2,250 is what you would have given up of money right then. And then you could possibly be getting that back. Or if they decide that there's some sort of restitution involved, then that money will go towards whatever they decide that that's supposed to go towards. And then you'll get the remainder back. And the bail bondsman should be even once this is all done with. That's providing that you were able to get a bail bondsman, which I would imagine they were able to, because, you know, they didn't get that GoFundMe money before that. So $15,750. Yeah. Sheriff Sean Holloway takes acts of violence, particularly those directed toward community memorials, very seriously, the sheriff's office said in a statement. The Daily Mail has reached out to the Rollo sisters for comment. The sisters are next due in court on October 22nd. All right, well, you know, that's what's going to happen with these chicks. I'm pretty sure, like I said, what they're going to do is it's going to end up being some community service. Each of them is going to have to pay a little bit of restitution. They're going to have to pay court administrative fees. I would imagine that both of them will probably end up combined having to pay about $1,500. That's what I would guess. And then have to do some community service hours, each of them respectively. I'm sure that's going to happen as well. And they basically ruin their life to make no point at all. That's the way I really feel about it. Or maybe ruin their lives is a bit dramatic, but they're on the road to ruining their lives for no reason at all. And for the people that are giving their money to the GoFundMe in the encouraging way, I think that you're doing these girls a disservice, even though you may think that you're helping them. Because what you're doing is telling these people that they have support to do these kinds of things, and that there are always going to be people that are going to bail them out when they make these bad decisions. And the fact of the matter is, people will get tired of you as soon as this stops being a hot story. Like right now, the left and the right are trying to one-up each other with these GoFundMes and these give, send, goes. And you see that a lot. Like people on the right, something happens, a bunch of people will start donating to it, even if they don't necessarily believe in the cause, just to show the left. And the left is doing the same thing. Somebody messes up, whether or not they really believe in it, they'll go ahead and donate some money anyway, just to prove a point to the right. But really what that does for the people that are messing up is it gives them this false sense of security that people are just going to continue donating to them and helping them out. Like you saw something similar happen with Carmelo Anthony. Like right away, they raised a bunch of money for him. And then more recently, his family decided they need more money and they're getting zero. And the same is going to happen with these girls. Like, these girls think they're having a win right now because they went viral and they were able to raise $20,000, which is great. But like I said, that money's going to only hold you over for so long, and it's going to be eaten up by the lawyer. So then by the time October 22nd rolls around, unless you do something else stupid, you're going to fall out of the headlines. Nobody's going to care about your GoFundMe. And at a point when you might really need money, because I think the real money you're going to need is going to come in then, because that's when things are really going to start to peter out. You're probably going to spend like a lottery winner, at least a little bit, because you think you're doing well. You're quite possibly going to end up renting an apartment that you can't afford long term. This is the reality of what people do when they get money for nothing, when they get money that they haven't earned. So I don't think I'm going out on too much of a limb by saying this. And then when October 22nd rolls around and you really need money, nobody's going to care, and you're going to be yesterday's news. That's where I'm at on it. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Thank you for watching. If you want to see a video of me talking about Kamala Harris, talking about the fact that Pete the Buttigieg was too gay to be vice president, click the video on your screen. Other than that, as always, thank you for watching. This has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.